It's mid-May here in Portland, and this driveway garden is lush and beautiful, but somehow it's not quite enough. I want more. Like many of you, I'm already anxious for what comes next. Why can't I just enjoy what it is? I do. And then I think about how much more it could be doing. More that I could be growing, more that I could be sharing. If my retaining wall was done and that additional growing space was ready to go, that would help. I see the empty flower pots for the summer blooms, even while the spring pansies, straw flowers, and even broccoli gone to seed are breathtaking. And I think about the peppers and the tomatoes, the marigolds and the cosmos. How exciting it will all be when it finally comes to its fullness. But then, when it does, it will only be for a fleeting moment. The season will begin to turn, and before long, it'll be time to prepare and do it all again next year. Welcome to PDX Garden Home, where I grow in the maritime climate of the Pacific Northwest. Today, we're harvesting from the one artichoke plant. A small but satisfying reminder that even a single plant can feel like a real crop when it finally produces. Then we'll head over to the potting bench to start some warm season staples: sunflowers, corn, and bush beans. I'm also planting up another outdoor container with a mix of flowers from the nursery, adding a little more color and abundance to the driveway garden. Finally, we'll check in on the beans and summer squash that have germinated in the garage under lights, because the next wave of summer planting is already on its way. Spring here moves in fits and starts. But by this time of year, the garden is asking us to keep up. So come along and let's garden. Well, I have artichokes on this plant here. This artichoke plant was overwintered from last year, and we're gonna have it for dinner tonight. Other artichokes that, if you've seen in my last videos, that I've been growing from seed that I started in January, but they're just not big enough to have a stem with an actual artichoke flower on it. This part that you eat is the flower of the artichoke. If I don't get around to harvesting, when this thing opens up, it's quite a beautiful flower. Kind of it's purple and in the thistle family, and I love the way it looks actually. So I've intentionally let artichokes go to flower in the past just to get that look in the garden. But the idea of having artichoke on the dinner table, so we're going to harvest here. These small ones are almost not even worth it. This one is so small. I think I'm just going to harvest the big one and then the secondary one. I'll leave this really small one. Maybe we'll let that one flower. This is a plant that had been here for over a year. And so this is the flower head here that I've cut off, and we're gonna serve it for dinner tonight. I've got one's a little bit smaller, still could be good eating. The other one is too small, I think, for eating, so I'll let it flower. Sunflower. 3 sunflowers that I grew last year. In fact, I didn't get new packets. I'm growing from the packets that I had last year, except for this one. I did get a new packet of this one. I really liked this ice. It's kind of a yellow-white sunflower. Kind of smaller, decorative sunflowers, not the big kind of massive heroic ones. If doesn't like the look of the big massive heroic ones, so compromised that I can grow sunflowers as long as I grow the small decorative ones. So that's 2. One is just a regular plant up kind of thing. Seeds can be different sizes depending on the size of the flower it produces, and these are actually relatively small seeds for sunflowers. The vanilla ice I can do quite a bit of, because these are like, I'm treating them like cut flowers in the garden. So yeah, if I do 5 of each, because I've got 3 kinds, then that will take up pretty much the whole tray here. Yeah, let me do almost 5 of each, kind of rounding. I'll do 5 of these actually. I won't do the whole tray. I'll come back and do more later if I feel like it, but I'm running out of potting mix, so I need to get some more potting mix, and just timing of things and everything makes the whole thing not seem like something I can do very quickly. So let me just do 5 here. I don't think the type of sunflower, I don't know if I need to go crazy with the labeling, because I don't think the type of sunflower is going to matter to me. I've worked with these before, so I know they germinate and how they grow. And I mean, it kind of matters in terms of where I might plant it. The bear sunflower that I have here is the only one that kind of I would change where I plant it because it's a smaller, these will grow kind of medium size height, but I think the teddy bear one grows a smaller stem. So that maybe would change where I plant that one. Wow, I've got a lot of these seeds. I could do a lot of these. Maybe I should. I'll just do 5 to start out with, keep myself honest. And then let me do 5 of the Velvet Queen sunflower. So I've got a yellow white one that I was showing you a second ago, and then this one is more of the color. It's beautiful. I really enjoyed it in the garden last year. Got one there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There, and you can see these sunflower seeds are a little bit bigger. Drop 2 in each cup here. And the reason I grow these in the cups instead of the 6L tray is once they germinate, they'll like pop up. They'll start getting big really quickly. So it's easier just to start in a larger container when I'm dealing with sunflowers. Oops, I don't think I got 2 in there. Okay. Now I'm gonna do only 4 of the teddy bear. That's perfect in terms of how many I have of each, I think. And that's what the teddy bear sunflower seeds look like. If I showed you the packet, so I'll do that again there. This will give me 14 sunflower plants, more than I probably need. I feel like I maybe want to grow in more of some of those others, but I don't need to. I'm gonna restrain myself. I'm gonna show some restraint on the sunflowers. Maybe later I'll plant some more if I get more time, right? But for now, this will be my sunflower tray, and that should cover it. I'm gonna do some labels here. I'm not gonna label every single cup though. I'm gonna cheat it, make myself assume where it is, and then let it be if I mix them up, which I invariably will. Okay, and then I put the teddy bear tag in, and we are done with the sunflower tray. Okay, I am here to plant some corn. 14, that'd be 14 stalks. That's probably as much as I can actually in the garden somewhere. So I'll just plant this one tray right now, and I'll succession plant it. So I'll plant one tray now, and then I'll plan on planting another tray later. Help keep me honest. If you don't see I'm planting another tray anywhere, maybe throw a comment out there and say, hey, where's your succession corn? Because I've wanted to do that in the past and just haven't gotten around to it. But this year, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because I'm asking you guys to help keep me accountable on it too. So now corn, this probably looks strange to some of you, planting germinating corn in little pots or containers, little cups before, you know, and then what? Well, then I transplant it. So that probably sounds crazy, right? Yeah, and I said this in a prior segment, but I'll kind of repeat it here, that this before, and at my scale, I'm just a backyard gardener, and I'm growing corn for the fun of it. I like to, you know, we'll have one dinner where we have some ears, have the dried out stalks and Halloween decoration, and just the stalks like growing in the garden look great in the fall as part of the fall garden. I think it creates that ambiance, right? So, but I'm not a farmer like growing rows and rows of corn. If I were to do that, there's no way I would do this. If I were farming and growing rows and rows of corn, I would do it the traditional way, where you go out and you seed direct in the ground, right? So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I'm gonna put 2 in each hole, one for good and one for backup. This truly, I won't, you know, you've seen where I've done backups before, where then I end up keeping the second one of certain plants, particularly brassicas. I might grow 2, and if both germinate, I can split them out and then still plant both in the garden. That will not happen here. As soon as they germinate, if both germinate successfully, then I will pull out the weakest ones so that the strongest one has within this cup to start its root journey. Corn is similar to other things they'll tell you to transplant because the roots don't like too much disturbance. So again, I say then don't disturb them. Transplanting doesn't necessarily yeah, isn't necessarily too much disturbance if you are careful about it. And in this case, what's nice about these red cups is, you know, you can kind of squeeze around the ends, you can kind of dump the whole thing out, and you can get like the whole like container and root ball, and without separating it out or anything, and you can just plop the whole thing in the ground. And I think that's pretty little disturbance really to the roots when you do that. So I don't know, maybe I could be wrong about some of this, but what I'm not wrong about is the fact that I actually have done this and grown corn and served it on the dinner table this way. So you can do it too if you have the need or desire. Corn requires multiple stalks in order to germinate, or in order to pollinate, and then actually get kernels in the cob of corn. So what will happen is, if you don't have enough pollination in your corn, when you go to pick the corn ear, it'll be missing the little corn kernel. It's usually because there wasn't enough kind of cross-pollination, or I guess is what it is, I should say. So I'm growing 14, and so yeah, I've got to grow more than one or two. I've got to grow a bunch, and then I've got to plant these densely together so that they can fertilize each other, pollinate each other. Okay. That's the corn. I'm gonna throw this down in the garage and away we go. I was talking earlier about planting some beans in these smaller 6L trays. So I'm gonna go ahead and plant some bush beans here. This is the Gold Rush bush beans. I actually have these yellow ones. I also have some purple ones and some green ones. So I'm gonna start with the yellow ones. Mentioned in prior videos that I got more bush beans than I intended, I think, especially the green ones, because my theory, you know, when you're doing bush beans, I find it hard to like locate the beans in the green beans. It's getting my bush beans to be yellow or purple, kind of standout colors, because then I find them easier. So now these are relatively smaller containers for beans to begin with, so I am only going to put one in, because putting two in when it's such a small container rubs me the, whoops, I put two by accident, rubs me the wrong way. I don't think it's a great idea. So I'm going to put one in each here. And you can, you know, they'll come on with one big flush. You can harvest them. Sometimes you'll get a little bit more, but once you have that big flush, so basically I treat it more like a plant that I'm going to harvest and then cut down to the ground, and then I'm going to plant. So starting this early with bush beans, I could have several plantings of bush beans. So I don't need to plant this whole thing out, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. This will be kind of my first early planting of bush beans, because it's arguably a little bit early for beans, I think, but we'll see. You saw that I did beans earlier, but runner beans are known to be something that you tolerate more variation in weather, and you can plant earlier than your typical kind of, and then, so after planting this, I'll probably wait a couple weeks before I plant more beans. You might hold me to it. You might see that I'm planting more beans already. What am I doing? It's almost all the yellow beans, but a little bit more there I'll just save for later. The indentations on these pretty far down, so instead of digging a hole, I just drop the bean in the indentation, and then I'll just cover here with some potting mix, and I'm good to go. All of this soil is already damp, so I'm not gonna hose it. I will wait. Oh, that part's not that damp, but I was mentioning a minute ago, I've got a really lightweight can downstairs by the garage that sprinkles water on things, and that's perfect for this situation. I want to grab some more potting mix to throw on top there. Man, I've used just about every ounce of potting mix I had left, so I need to get some more of that, because I will have succession plantings of things I want to do. Well, and I still had a couple of varieties of cucumbers, laugh out loud, that I'm laughing because I don't really eat cucumbers. And well, speaking of odd combinations, I've been talking about the different things that I've been combining in the experimentation that I've been doing with, and if you want to call it that, or combinations of plants. What I have here is a dahlia tuber, my one status plant. I didn't plant any status seed this year, but I had one left over from last year, so I've got one here. And I'm gonna put one of the out of this tray in there. So I'll have a dahlia, a status, and a delphinium. And I think how that comes together, won't we? Whoa, look at that. Look at that beauty. That's great. Oh, I said this was a dahlia. This isn't a dahlia. This is a gladiola. That'll go good there. I mean, it's not what I thought it was, but it'll go good there. Okay. Next is the status. This is over a year old. Pot's really warm. It was sitting in the sun maybe. I don't know what kind of status this is, so we shall see. And now for the delphinium, which is just in a 1-inch cell tray, so that will be easiest to make room for there, should be. These were grown from seed this year, the delphiniums. I don't know if we'll get a bloom this year from it. Experience in the past with delphiniums were that I would plant them, they would disappear, and then they would come back next year, and then I'd get a bloom. So this may be a longer term investment than... Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna throw a carnation sitting over there. I'm gonna throw some carnations in the front, because why not? I've got a little bit of room there. I'm feeling anxious about using it, so let's do it. I'm just gonna do a couple carnation plugs, so I'm not getting greedy, but give me something going on there that can kind of spill nicely over the side, I think. Now, I need to go watering can. I've got one right there, so maybe we'll see if it has water in it. Yeah, this one has water in it. Okay, very good. All right, well, I've had this tray of basil in the garage under lights for the last few days because it's been relatively cool here the nights, and I have it under a heating pad where it's keeping the whole thing warm. So it needs a little bit of water here. I fertilized it a couple days ago, so I don't really want to fertilize it again, although it looks like it might use some, but it's green enough. It's not aren't yellowing it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it back under the lights for now and see what else I got under the lights to look at here. Okay, I've got my runner beans here. These, if I knew where I was gonna put them, I could just plant them. These cell trays right in the ground right now. So I'm gonna put them in an outdoor tray, put this in an outdoor tray and put them in my area for just a little bit. Let's take a look and see what it looks like in there. I bet the root goes to the bottom. These things will root very quickly. Well, yeah, there we go. It's a nice looking root. So it's ready. It's ready to go. And these, the fun thing about this is that these were my home saved seed from last year too. So potting mix to put back on there because I'm not at my potting bench, but yeah. Okay. They're a little bit moist. Yeah, I'm not gonna put water on them right now. They don't really like to get particularly wet. Them there, and I can come by and water them later today. I'm gonna put them over here kind of in the semi-sun to be ready for the outdoors. Just putting them right now in an outdoor tray where this outdoor tray has holes in it. That way when I come by and water it, or if it rains on it later, it doesn't turn into a swamp in there. It doesn't drown the beans. Okay, I've got squash here, some things that have germinated, some things that have not. Squash, I didn't get any new seeds. They're all old seeds. Some of them are from a couple years or a few years back, so enough if some things may not germinate. But the Italian These 4 here are doing good. I have one labeled as Romanesco. I'm not seeing anything pop up there yet. Beauty, I've got one that has popped up here. I've got 2 that have popped up here. Tube of butter, which is a yellow squash, nothing, and the patty pan, nothing. The patty pan was like the oldest seeds that I had, actually, so, and it was the last seeds that I had, so if I get anything out of there, that's great. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take out one of the seedlings that have double germinated. I don't want them competing with each other and these things, because these things need a lot of root room. And these 2 look equally healthy, so it's kind of a crapshoot, but I'm just going to pull this one out here. That one is done, and now I'll leave this one to be the healthy one. And I've got one here. This one looks a little bit bigger and it's more in the middle, so I'm just going to pull this one out here gently. There we go. What do I have? Okay, this one here, they're like crossed on each other. I like the stoutness maybe of this one. Pull the one that's a little bit longer out there. And then this one's got 2 of these. So this one's in the middle straight. This one's kind of flopping over to the side. So I'm just going to pull out that one. My reasoning for why I'm pulling out which ones are truly precarious, because really these could have been the survivors and we would probably be just as fine as what will end up happening with what's here. Okay, leave these back under the lights. It's still not super warm out yet. Up to 69, 70 degrees today when we get to the height of the day. It's not that fine for these. I mean, they wouldn't be hurt by being out in it, but they're not necessarily overly helped by it either. They would be helped by the natural sun. We get to the nights that are going to be down into the 40s still for a little bit here, so I would rather keep them inside at night. So one strategy is I could have them out here into the day, and then I could do a project to like move everything that I have out here in the day that needs to be inside back inside, but I'm too lazy to do that. So I'm just going to put them inside now so that I don't have to remember to come back and do it back day. Okay, so back inside we go. Okay, so what I have here are nasturtiums, and then I've got some beans over here, the yellow bush beans. Bringing every tray out because some of the trays only have a little bit of germination. They don't have this much germination yet, so I'm just leaving them as is because they've got moisture and I'll need to finish germinating before I do anything else. I wanted to bring these out to check. Do I need to water them? I don't think I do. They're still moist in there, so I don't need to water them. And then I'm also just checking, did I want to them? Need to do that either at this point. So this one is actually, other than pulling the humidity dome off, this one is good to go. And there we have it. An artichoke harvested, another container planted, warm season seeds started, and the first signs of beans and squash already pushing their way into the season. It's easy for me to look around and see what still isn't finished. The wall that needs building, the space that isn't planted yet, the summer garden that still exists mostly in my imagination. But days like this remind me, the garden is already doing something. I think that's good enough for today. I hope this encourages you to enjoy what your garden is giving you right now, even as you dream about what's still to come. Please consider subscribing to follow along through the rest of the season. Thanks for gardening with me, and I'll see you in the next one.